All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to reInvent. Hope everyone is having a great week. Any soccer fans today? Cool. So yeah, thank you for your time. I hope you are enjoying exciting soccer matches and the reInvent. I'm Paula Mishroff, Principal Technical Program Manager at AWS Marketplace. I'm here with Dr. Khalid from IGA Bahrain and Lisa from AWS Marketplace. We are going to talk about perhaps as exciting as soccer matches and as interesting about Information and Government Authority of Bahrain, IGA Bahrain's transition to cloud using AWS Marketplace. Here is a brief agenda for today's talk. I'm going to start with enterprise cloud transformation and how AWS and AWS Marketplace helps customers to migrate, modernize, and innovate. Then Dr. Khalid is going to go over some of the use cases for IGA Bahrain and how they used AWS Marketplace for the digital transformation. Last, Lisa is going to go over some of the procurement and governance features available at AWS Marketplace and how that helps our enterprise customer manage and procure their workloads on cloud. Let's get started with kind of some of the statistics on the current enterprise cloud transformation and challenges that customers see while moving to cloud. What we are seeing is that by end of next year, about 75% of organizations across the world are going to have a comprehensive digital transformation roadmap. There are three reasons for this fast innovation. First, an increasingly connected digital consumer. Second, the economy of scale and the disruptive technologies access that cloud provides to these enterprises. And third, over 20 million developers that essentially transform every business into a software experience. When you couple these trends with impact of 5G and COVID, what we are seeing is big industry across the world, as well as governments like IGA, are evolving their digital strategies at a much faster pace than what we have seen before. A core component of every digital strategy to move to cloud is to migrate and modernize their existing workloads. Per Gartner, about 80% of enterprises by 2025 are going to shut down their on-prem data centers and move the workloads to cloud. A lot of these companies will take their existing applications and move to the cloud as is, which is traditionally known as the lift and shift model. But many of the companies are going to re-architect and refactor their existing applications and modernize them as they move to cloud to achieve the scale and the efficiencies that the cloud provides. Now, as these companies move to cloud, there are three critical things that they need to keep in mind: security, safety, and speed. AWS, along with AWS Marketplace, provides all the features and functionalities that enable these enterprises to have their move to cloud simpler and faster. Another interesting statistics that we have seen when we did a study with over 300 independent software providers, as well as other Gartner, is that on average, an enterprise moving to cloud has 600 SaaS applications. It is surprising to have so many applications across almost 2 to 3 vendors, and most of these applications spanned 70% of it is an individual line of business. What this means is that when enterprises are moving to cloud, they want transparency on IT spending. And in order to do so, they need reporting, metrics, and ongoing governance of their cloud workloads. This is a challenge that AWS, along with AWS Marketplace, provides, again, features and software services that can help enterprises manage their workloads easier on cloud. In all, what we are seeing is that in next 3 to 4 years, IT spending on cloud is projected to increase by almost 50%. With this increase, enterprises are looking for scalability, efficiency, and transparency as they move to cloud. On their cloud journey for enterprises, here is one of the framework that many companies use as they move from on-prem to cloud. As you can see, on the left-hand side, we have a set of companies that are just getting started on this journey. These companies are probably looking at very few applications, or maybe planning to do a proof of concept that can help them visualize if moving to cloud is right for their business at this point in time. On the middle, we have a set of companies that have gone through this initial phase and then seen some success by moving to cloud. And those companies are now in the process of scaling their workloads and applications to move to cloud and figuring out automated processes that can help them move either all or most of their applications to cloud. On the right-hand side, you have companies like Netflix, which are pretty much cloud-born. And now they are at a stage where they want to scale and increase efficiency and optimization on their cloud spending. No matter where a company is in their cloud journey, there are 5 essential management and governance features that are required. First is security, as we talked. Second is identity and access management. Third, login. 4, monitoring. And 5th, network access. All of these 5 core critical components are provided as basic features and functionalities by AWS. As companies start to grow their cloud presence, they are starting to use various other AWS services. And as a result, the companies that are in the middle layer of the journey of their cloud, they are looking at integrated service management across all of the AWS services to manage their AWS environment. And lastly, for the companies who are scaling and optimizing with the cloud financial management becomes critical, as well as governance of the products and the third-party software that they have procured with Marketplace. That is where Marketplace provides the management and governance capability for the companies like Netflix who are scaling and optimizing their workloads with Marketplace. In all of these cases, being with AWS and AWS Marketplace provides the companies optimal way to scale iteratively and adopt best practices to move to cloud as they are transitioning and enhancing the digital transformation at their companies. So now we are going to focus on or dive deep into AWS Marketplace. What is AWS Marketplace? AWS Marketplace is a curated catalog of digital products, data products, professional services, and machine learning algorithms. Sellers across the world can come and list their products on AWS Marketplace, and buyers can go on the website, they discover, procure, and deploy the software. All of these capabilities are integrated at the back end with AWS billing and invoicing services for the buyers to provide a comprehensive billing and management experience, as well as for the sellers. Marketplace provides a set of reports that helps them grow their revenue and do sales compensation. Marketplace also provides these sellers a way to enhance their visibility and reach global customers and increase their profitability. Here are some interesting statistics on Marketplace. So today, Marketplace is deployed in 25 AWS regions. It facilitates over 2 million transactions across 4,000 independent software vendors, consulting partners, data providers, and 330,000 active subscribers across the world. This is all done via 13,000 transactable listings on the Marketplace, over 70 categories in data and software. When a buyer purchases product from Marketplace, they can deploy it almost immediately. And with AWS Centralized billing, all the products that a buyer has subscribed from Marketplace, they get on one invoice. This helps the buyers track their spend and control and predict it in a more easy and simple manner. Overall, it also provides a set of functionalities lost my train of thought, but in addition to the centralized billing and management, AWS Marketplace also provides buyers having a dedicated relationship with the sellers by providing them customized negotiated terms and management. So how AWS Marketplace works? AWS Marketplace essentially provides 3 basic ways to procure software on its website. The first is when a buyer goes to the website, as I mentioned earlier, and discovers and deploys the software. This is called self-service model. For large enterprises, they want custom negotiated prices and customized terms and conditions to go along with their software procurement. AWS Marketplace provides this via an offering called private offers that enables sellers to extend custom negotiated private offers to end buyers. End buyers can log into their AWS account and subscribe to this offer. What we have seen is that countries across the world, some of the buyers want to work with their preferred consulting partners or solution providers. For that, AWS Marketplace has consulting partners private offers. What happens in the consulting partner private offers is an ISV authorizes its chosen consulting partners to extend the private offers on its product on its behalf to the end customer. And then end customer procures the offers from the consulting partner. These different mechanisms address different use cases, and we are seeing increasing private consulting partners private offers becoming increasingly popular, and that allows a local ISV to reach out to global audience much more easily. Here are some of the examples of software, data, and professional service providers that we have on Marketplace. The slide lists the most popular 8 categories. And as you can see, ISVs and sellers like AppDynamics, Cisco, F5, Trend Micro, they have found success with Marketplace. They have increased their global outreach, their profitability, and grown revenue by moving and transacting on AWS Marketplace. In the next few slides, I'm going to focus on how Marketplace helps global sellers and buyers. For sellers, Marketplace provides a variety of ways to consume and list their offerings. For customers who don't want to have long-term commitments, they can start with free trial and test of the product and move on to hourly or hourly spending, and then move on to monthly and annual contracts. As I mentioned earlier, Private offers is something where a customer has pre-negotiated price and customized terms and conditions. And AWS Marketplace provides private offers as a mechanism for end buyers to procure long-term contracts. What we have seen by talking with customers, when they move their workloads to cloud, they have existing agreement and licenses with vendors. And they want to use those licenses on AWS Cloud when they are moving their workloads. The bring your own license or BYOL offering that a seller has provides capability for a buyer to bring their own license, download the software from AWS Marketplace, and then deploy it on AWS Cloud. All of these pricing models and the consumption models are complemented by various deployment models available on AWS Marketplace. Most of you must be familiar with Amazon Machine Image or AMI deployment that essentially allows a buyer to access AWS infrastructure and compute resources. A second set of deployment is software as a service that's available on Marketplace as well. For customers with more modular workloads, Marketplace provides containerized deployment of software using AWS ECS and AWS EKS. For developers and programmers within an organization, Marketplace provides API integrations and direct access to services and software. In addition to these 4 deployment models, Marketplace also has AWS Data Exchange that allows customers to procure data sets and then deploy them on AWS. For ML enthusiasts, Marketplace also provides direct integration with AWS SageMaker, where customers can deploy and run their AWS algorithms. In addition to the deployment, Marketplace allows various ways for customer to manage their workloads by providing cost allocation and cost management via AWS Billing Console, standardized licensing terms, which increase the procurement cycle by almost 90%, and private marketplaces where organizations like Nike have custom catalogs of curated products that can be seen only by Nike's employees. Overall, AWS Marketplace provides both agility and governance to enterprise customers when they move to cloud. Customers don't need to have a trade-off between agility and governance when they are moving their workloads to cloud by using AWS and AWS Marketplace. So how AWS Marketplace can help your organization? As I mentioned earlier, Marketplace provides a simplified and optimized way for builders to procure the software and for procurement enablers to manage and govern the cost. One such use case is IGA Bahrain. And I invite Dr. Khalid now to come over and talk about IGA Bahrain's journey with Marketplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Balomi. So, good afternoon. This is me, Dr. Khalid Matawa. I come from Bahrain. I'm the Deputy Chief Executive of Information and eGovernment Authority, known as IGA. What we do is our roles and responsibilities is to look at the operation of ICT on the entire public sectors in Bahrain. So to start with, let me just take you, before we start talking about AWS experience, let me take you just to talk about our country. So for those who doesn't know Bahrain, Bahrain is an island in the Gulf region. We are small countries with a population over 1.5 millions, but we live there as a family, so we know each other. We have a friendly community there, and we are connected with Saudi Arabia with King Fahd Causeway, and this is our way to access the rest of GCC countries. Although we are small countries, but we have done a magnificent achievement and accomplishments. So believe it that we are the first country who discovered the oil in the region, and we are the first country who brought the Formula One race in the Middle East. And if you are fan of the sound of the engine of the Formula One, then you are invited on March to join us on our first race that will be running next year. And Bahrain will open the calendars next year in March. We are also the first country who hosted AWS Regional Data Center in the Middle East. And from there, we have established our cloud-first policy, and we started our cloud journey at that time. Now, IGA is the organization responsible for digital transformation for the entire public sector. So basically, we lead the digital transformation journey for more than 70 government agencies, ministries, and we do a lot of service. Our portfolio of service is very large. So we do basic and small things like help desk, email services, call centers, but also we do big things. Like we host critical application, we develop e-services, we do advanced technology like machine learning, artificial intelligence, and we look after the data, the backup of the data. So we do all the portfolio related to operation of ICT for all government entities. We are very proud of what we are doing and what we had achieved so far. Why? Because we are the organization who simplify the life of people. We improve the lifestyle of the peoples. How we do this? We develop the e-services, so we make public service accessible to peoples, and they don't have to pass through the hassles of going and do the public services on ministries or government agencies. We build for them the mobile apps. We have self-services, but also we look after the infrastructures. So we manage the national data network that ensure the connectivity between different ministry and organization, and we are the responsible entities who integrate application together, and we host the critical application, and we govern the data of our countries. And also we are the country who issue the national data identity for resident and citizen as well. One of our biggest excitements and achievement was our cloud journey, which was started in 2016 with collaboration with AWS. We were exploring the cloud opportunities because at that time we faced a lot of challenge with data centers number increasing on the country, and it's difficult to manage the cost and to keep the quality of the data center and maintain the standards. So we explored the opportunity of the cloud, and we made the decision in 2017. We said, yeah, we want to go to the cloud, that's it. And we issued the cloud-first policy. We built the team, Bahraini teams. We changed the law. We introduced new standards, new guidelines. We were ready, and we started the journey in 2018. It took us 3 years to migrate 72 government entities. We successfully migrate 70% of our workloads to AWS Cloud. 70% of our workloads is currently running on AWS Cloud, and we are very proud of our achievements. We have a lot of success stories. The time maybe is not enough to talk about them in this session, but I will be sharing some of our experience. So as other government in other countries, one of our job and responsibility is to make sure that people are compliant with the law, enterprises are compliant with the law. So we have many ministries who do this job, and to ensure compliance, you have to be very agile, because the law is keep improving, changing, in order to be compliant with the best practice, to make things easier even for people. And this impacted the behavior of the application. because then you need to host your application in an environment that is agile and dynamic. So when we did the migration for the application, we not just moved the systems as lift and shift, but we modernized the applications. So we utilize now the DevOps approach, and we build code pipelines. So the deployment of the changes is happening now as automatically with the limited, I would say, interventions by humans. And this helped many organizations to achieve better efficiency. Now, one of even our success stories is happening in the education sector. I came from an education sector, and this is very close to my heart. And one of our success story that's happened during the pandemic is we have successfully moved students from classical learning to e-learning platform. Now, how we did this? Now, our e-learning systems is hosted in AWS, but the system cannot cater for 150,000 students entering the system concurrently. So what we did is we have reconfigured the applications, and we used the auto-scaling features on AWS, and we did this in 1 week. 1 week to reconfigure and build the application so it will cater the needs for more than 150,000 students. 0 days of disruptions to our educational process. Also, the health sector is one important sector that you benefited a lot from the migration to AWS, because they are well known of dealing with big data and large volume of information. And always they want to analyze and to visualize the data and to crunch this data in order to make decision about people. And one success story we did is we built an application called Be Aware. This application supports the health sector to track the cases of COVID-19, manage the vaccinations of people, set appointments, do analysis for the symptoms of COVID-19, supported the health sector a lot. This system has been built on AWS using new technologies like serverless in just 2 weeks. Another important case studies is the justice systems. And we know that justice system is also well known of dealing with large amount of files and documents. So what we did is we have digitalized the documents and the cases, files, and we moved them to AWS cloud. So the entire justice system now is working paperless, without the needs now to print and make copies and keep them in a store. And we did a lot of cost saving on that. We achieved more than 40% cost saving for digitalization of the justice file system. We are telling ourselves, is this enough? Is this good enough? No, because we are not dealing only with one single partner or vendors. Because we are a government and we have different applications and we have different technologies, so we're dealing with more than 100 vendors and partners. And we are serving more than 70 ministries and government agencies. All these government agencies, they need to build relationships with those partners. And part of our responsibility is governance. So we have to look after this procurement process, and we have to put controls, and we have to have a visibility in the utilization so we ensure that budget is optimized, the spending is optimized. So what we did is we were looking for an e-commerce platform that can help us to control and to build the right governance for these 70 organizations. And yes, we found the solution. It was the AWS Marketplace. So AWS Marketplace will give you a large portfolio of softwares. As my colleagues below me said, there's a large amount of information about the software available. It's a simple procurement process. as she mentioned, it's find and buy. So you go and search for the product, and then if it is the right product for you, just a few clicks, and then the product is in your account. You receive the same invoice, the same billing system, so you don't have to do a lot of contracts, and you don't have to follow a lot of billings and invoices. It's also enhanced the governance because it is a consolidated repository of contracts. So you have visibility of the utilization for all government or organization and government entity. And you don't have to access a lot of dashboard, one single dashboard that will help you to see each entity, their utilization of the license. Do we need to renew? Do we need to subscribe? Do we need to cancel the subscription? An easy way to do the governance. And yes, it helps us to optimize the cost. How? Because they have a unique features that I haven't seen on other platforms. You can negotiate your deals, and you can have a private offers, and you can secure a deal for yourself, and you can enforce your terms and conditions. And that gives you the power of negotiation. We started with infrastructure softwares because we had to establish the environment for other organizations to migrate to the cloud. So we did a transact with operating systems provider. We did a transact with network providers, database providers. But also in addition to this, we have initiated some new projects. So we had made a private deals with AppDynamics to establish our national monitoring systems. We have also established our national backup system with Veritas in order to ensure the protection of our data. But we moved also to a higher levels, not just infrastructure softwares. We also improved the productivity of the government agencies because we utilize now the business intelligence software. I talked about the health sectors. Health sector now are using business intelligence software from Marketplace, and they use it for data visualizations and data analytics as well. Security is very important. And security is very important components. We have to empower our government entities so that they ensure data protection and security. The beauty of AWS Marketplace that you can bundle professional service with the solution. And this is what happens to the security softwares. So what happens when we buy softwares, and this software needs expertise in implementation, we bundle it with the professional service in one deal, and we negotiate the deal with them, and we have a private offer. So you have access to the solution, and you have access to the expertise as well. So this will guarantee the acceleration of the migration to cloud. We achieve the cost optimization when we migrate, but also we required another tools in order to optimize the cost and in order even to ensure economic sort of managing for the cost on the cloud. And here also we have utilized some tools for cost optimization, and we have achieved more than 72% of cost optimization using these tools. We also moved to a higher level now. We're using AWS Marketplace in order to transform the business applications. And we are working now with companies like M4 and OutSystems to modernize some business application and ERP system and move them to the cloud using AWS Marketplace to transact and make the business deals. AWS Marketplace will fill the gaps for you. It's not only about solutions. You can also subscribe for training providers, and you can build your team capabilities. And this is what happened when we subscribe with the Cloud Guru, and we open the door for our team to access hands-on trainings, not just in cloud technology, is expanded now to network technology, programming, advanced technology like AIs. Now, where are we now with the cloud computings? We have done more than 60 million investment on AWS Marketplace. And believe me, it's growing significantly because all government entities find it easier to transact through AWS Marketplace. It's not only about investment, it's also about efficiency because we have reduced the procurement timeline by 60%. And we have achieved this with collaboration with AWS Marketplace team. There's a cost saving up to 40%, and we are enjoying the benefits of AWS Marketplace, making our private offers, deciding about our payment terms, bringing our own license, having access to professional services, so expertise can be one single repository where you can access all the subscription and make the proper decision about consolidation of some license and deals. And this gives you the access to a really self-commerce platform where people have easy way to transact for their procurement and deals. Is this the end of our story? No. We are working now to place AWS Marketplace in our procurement lifecycle. So we are integrating now AWS Marketplace with our national procurement system, with Coupa, and we are also integrating with our Jira Service Management. So we will make the end user experience a very unique experience when it comes to procurement for products in advanced technologies. I quote this from Darlie Plumer. She's Vice President of Gartner. She said that nowadays, manager, they can bypass IT and they can transact on the cloud because it becomes very easy to choose the solution that you want, subscribe with it. If it works with you, you can continue. If it doesn't, you can simply just cancel the subscription. And this is the transformation that we made for our procurement. So from traditional classical way that takes months just to finalize the deals, we transform it into few days just to close big deals or small deals. And this makes the life of our customers, the government entities, much easier. Thank you for listening. I pass it now to Lisa.
Thank you, Dr. Khaled. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I'm Lisa Lewison. I'm the Head of Engagement Success at AWS Marketplace. I'm also the mother of a 6-year-old child who is very much into ballet at the moment. And so when I told him that I was coming to present on stage to people, his assumption was that I was coming here to do ballet. So don't worry, I'm not going to perform Swan Lake for you, as much as I'm sure that would be an exciting thing to watch. But what I am here to talk about is some of the themes that Dr. Khaled has shared around how Marketplace has supported the government of Bahrain as well as many of our other customers in their migration and transformation journey as they move to the cloud. So I want to pick up on some of the themes that Dr. Khaled has talked about and expand upon them and help you to understand how Marketplace can help you to achieve these benefits. So one of the key value drivers of Marketplace is giving you the ability to optimize your cost at scale. I don't know whether any of you had the opportunity to listen into Adam Selipsky's keynote this morning, but I listened to Adam this morning, and he also had a presenter from ENGIE with him. And both Adam and the presenter from ENGIE touched on this notion of how they optimize costs, or how customers can optimize costs by scaling up and scaling down their use of cloud infrastructure to support peaks in their demand. So one of the features of Marketplace is that it enables you to buy software using flexible consumption and contract models that match the way you consume underlying cloud services. So just as you may commit to specific levels of consumption to achieve lower cost with your cloud services, you can do the same thing with Marketplace. So that when you're not using services, you can then use flexible pricing to turn on and off software so that you're not overspending. We hear from organizations that in some cases they will overspend on software by up to 30%. And so Marketplace helps organizations to lower the cost of that unused software and really over time to be paying only for the software that they need to be using. Another important value driver is this notion of balancing innovation and governance. So Dr. Khaled talked about how important Marketplace was for Bahrain IGA to accelerate migrations to the cloud, to accelerate access to new solutions, to accelerate the setup of a new learning management solution so that their end users could become certified in AWS technologies. But the other important thing about all of that acceleration is that enterprises still need to maintain control and governance over what they're doing. They need to maintain control over spend. They need to maintain control over who can commit spend. And so Marketplace has a number of features that enable organizations to set some guardrails around who can access software and what software they can access, as well as give you visibility into the cost of the software that's being used, whilst allowing users to access that software quickly so that they can provision the software to best meet their needs. The third value driver that I want to cover is the management and governance concept. So Marketplace is one of a number of AWS management and governance services. And Marketplace integrates with a number of the other AWS management and governance services, including Control Tower, Service Catalog, Cost Explorer, budgets, and identity and access management. And so what that means is that through those integrations, our customers can manage their Marketplace usage and consumption using the same set of tools that they manage their AWS consumption with. So the integration with IAM means that customers can determine who can access software using that same set of controls that they use across their other AWS services. Private Marketplace is a feature that enables customers to curate down from the list of more than 14,000 products on Marketplace to a subset of those products that are approved for use in their organizations. So customers like Nike and Change Healthcare are able to pre-approve selection of products for their users that meet their requirements and then enable their users to access those products through their private marketplace. They're able to brand that private marketplace, and they're also able to use notifications so that when users request new products, a private marketplace administrator can be notified. Dr. Khaled referred to the integration with Coupa. So many of our organizations or many of our customers have spend approval tools such as Coupa that they want to be able to continue to use to ensure that their spend is compliant with all of their required approvals. So we support the integration with Coupa, as well as having a range of APIs that enable customers to integrate with other workflow solutions. We also integrate with AWS Control Tower. So Control Tower enables organizations to set up a landing zone, a pre-configured landing zone, with a set of guardrails that mean that they can centrally control and secure how their organization accesses AWS services. Marketplace integrates into Control Tower, and we have an increasing number of software solutions available from Marketplace that are also integrated into Control Tower. So those solutions can be provisioned directly into a landing zone, and your users can then access them through your landing zone, maintaining compliance with your policies around how those services can be used. So we enable centralized visibility across your organization's consumption and usage through integrations with solutions like Datadog, New Relic, and PagerDuty. New Relic also integrates with many other AWS services. And so again, it gives you that ability to manage your usage of software using that same set of tooling that you manage the rest of your AWS estate with. We have multiple security solutions that are also able to be integrated into Control Tower and deployed directly from Control Tower, including CrowdStrike for endpoint security. In terms of network operations, we have Cisco and Aviatrix that have their solutions also available to be provisioned directly into Control Tower. So when we look at how Marketplace enables you to establish a governance framework, through integrations with IAM, Control Tower, and AWS organizations, customers can set up a central control and governance plane. They're able to control and standardize their procurement and ensure that their procurement remains compliant through use of private marketplace and integration with Coupa or other workflow or spend management solutions. Through integrations with Service Catalog and License Manager and managed entitlements, organizations are able to standardize how they provision and entitle resources. And of course, continuing that cycle, customers can use AWS Marketplace and AWS Data Exchange to find, try, and accelerate the usage of new solutions to support their cloud migrations. So the takeaways I want to give you for today are log into your AWS account and take a look at AWS Marketplace if you're not familiar with the service. Visit our procurement landing page and ask your AWS account manager for a Marketplace Envision workshop if you're interested in understanding these features better. Thank you very much for your time today. I would like to give you an opportunity for questions. We have a little bit of time left if anybody does have questions.